If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio. And this is one thing that men and women forget is like, we're not the same age. A man and a woman, both 25 years old, they're not the same age. I know that sounds so silly, but they're not. Their body clocks are working differently. Like a 25-year-old woman is so much older than a 25-year-old man. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be doing a breakdown of Mike Thurston, the fitness guy, who's become more of a lifestyle guy now. It's cool how that happens actually. It's like you start off as a fitness influencer and then over time, because fitness influences your life, you become like a lifestyle influencer. It's something that all the big kind of YouTubers as such have caught on to. It's something that I will do in the future as well. Being a men's lifestyle brand is like for example, now I spend like 2 hours in the morning in the gym and then like 2 hours cooking when I get home, like prepping stuff and whatever. And before I used to see that as time lost, but I know for a fact, you know, the better shape that you get in, the better your life becomes in all areas. Kind of has a ripple effect, and that's very much what this video today is all about, because I'm used to showing you kind of, I like to show different videos when I'm doing these male advantage journeys, and I usually show you guys somebody who like kind of went down a career path, like really struggled, then went through like a fitness transformation at like 27, 28, and by like 30, 31, they got into their male advantage. They got the roles that they wanted or something, you know, their business popped off and like everything came together. But with Mike, he'd been training since he was like 16 years old, and he did have very good genetics to begin with. And his story is very much one of two halves. It's almost like the fitness came first. He got to a certain level where life was good, and then he realized, you know, I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and add the success as well, because fitness has taken me so far, but I want a better quality of life, and how do I get this to another stage? It's so cool to see. But we start off with this picture here. Just look at his genetics. You know, he's not your average 10-year-old kid, of course, okay? Looks pretty fucking jacked, decent abs, whatever. I don't want to stand there and analyze like a little boy, but you see what I mean, right? And then we move on to here. This is him when he was 16 years old. Okay, look, just normal guy, okay? My friend looked like this when he was this age. Just crazy how similar they actually look. But just normal young kids, you know, a little bit more ripped than the average kid. His two mates in the picture, I've cropped it, but they're actually way bigger than him, both of them. Yeah, granted they're carrying more body fat, but you know, you wouldn't say it's anything over the top. Again, I don't want to analyze a young 16-year-old boy's physique too long, but you know, most people would look somewhat similar to this if they just kept themselves fit at that age, okay? And just as a comparison, this is the model Kelly Brook when she was 16. I mean, I'll put the two side by side. Just look at the difference, okay? This is what I always talk about with the male advantage, is that from around about 16 onwards, you know, women kind of really develop and men are still looking awkward and skinny and immature and whatnot. And you've got Kelly Brook here, like granted she's 16, I'm against paedophilia, etc., you know, more than anybody alive, right? I hate that shit. But you can be against paedophilia and then also be honest. Do you know what I mean? And you look at her here and you think, yeah, 16 or not, she's clearly attractive. She's clearly curvy. You know, she could be mistaken for like a 21-year-old model or something like that. And this is just what happens to women. They just peak very quickly overnight. And as I said before, they get handed the keys to a Ferrari, like on their 16th, 18th birthday, whenever they fully develop. And then, you know, life's great for like the next 10, 12 years, whatever, and it's up to them what they do with it. But as a man, you can see with Mike, like skinny, awkward, and obviously we know who Mike is today, and absolutely worlds apart. Like you can see Kelly's very close to her ultimate peak here, and Mike's like a million miles away. That's just the gap between men and women. You know, there's a giant age gap in terms of peaks, and this is one thing that men and women forget is like, we're not the same age. A man and a woman, both 25 years old, they're not the same age. I know that sounds so silly, but they're not. Their body clocks are working differently. Like a 25-year-old woman is so much older than a 25-year-old man. Like a 30-year-old man is just getting started. A 30-year-old woman is not exactly finished, but her peak years have gone. Whereas a man, they've just started. And it's very important to remember that men and women have, they age differently. They're not the same age when they're the same age. I know that sounds very strange, but there's a 25-year-old man is a different world to a 25-year-old woman. Like it's just so important that you understand that, so that you have patience as a man. Okay, so next we move on to, so when he was 16, that was 2007. That was his first year of training. So that's one thing I want you guys to remember throughout all of this, is that he started training at 16. The average guy starts training at like 25, 26, maybe even like 30, trying to put it all together. I recommend, of course, you start in your early 20s, and put it all together. But 16, I don't think most of us were worried about getting jacked. We might have hit the gym, but we weren't taking it as seriously as Mike. This is clearly a passion of his, okay? But we start off at 17 to 18 years old. So I believe he was saying this is like his last year of school. He was lean but small, of course well above average, because he's 2 years into his training here. 2 years into training, even doing the wrong thing with poor form, whatever, you're still going to put on muscle because you're going to get beginner gains. Yeah, well above average, still very skinny, but not a lot of muscle there, but he's lean. He's obviously got a tan, it helps, but clearly well above average for like a 17-year-old lad. So, of course, what does that mean? Well, he's first out the gate. And the first mover advantage is so important as a man. Like, yeah, we peak later, but if you can really get stuck into this shit at like 18, 20 years old, whatever, and by like 25, you've already got the elite fitness level box ticked, or at least before 30, you've got elite level fitness box ticked. It gives you such an advantage, because then you're not having to play catch up, and this already in place is easier to maintain, and you can very much just focus on the fitness. Now we move to 2009. Mike was saying in a video, and all these videos are on his channel, I'll link them in the bio, you can go and watch them, they're really cool actually. He did a 8-year journey which led up to 2017. I think there's one about how he made more money and became like who he is today, earning like thousands per month, as in like 25 grand per month, that sort of thing. It's really cool. I'll link them. They're interesting to watch. But this is the first time he said that he had an actual structured gym routine. There was still no legs involved, which is obviously a huge difference maker. But he actually had a proper structured gym routine rather than just lift when you feel like lifting. And here's the caveats to this. He was at uni. He was drinking, he wasn't sleeping well, he was still a decent size, but as I said, he's a muscular teenager. He's partying and drinking a lot, so, like he was saying in the video, he lost a lot of size, so everything that he put on was like, kept diminishing, and we can see in this picture here, it's almost like frat boy big, do you know what I mean, where you've been training quite hard, but you've still not got a man's physique. This is actually one reason why I think men shouldn't really start going to the gym until they're like at least 18, but maybe like 20 years old, because you want your body to fully develop. Because you've got to think, he's 3 years into his training here, and he's big, but it's not what you'd expect a man to look like after 3 solid years of training. I know it's not under the best circumstances, but still, he's not exactly jacked, is he? He's just kind of not bad shape. It's almost like middle ground of both. Not that ripped, not that huge, just kind of an above average teenager, really. So that's why I think sometimes men should wait so that they can get their beginner gains at like 20, 21, 22, and then, I think it has a much greater effect at that point. Now we're going to move quickly into 2010. He was 19 years old here, his picture. And he said that it was solid training. He started going out less. I think it was second or third year of uni. I think it's second year of uni. He was training by himself as well, because his training partners were not as consistent, which is definitely something that really helps. Okay, I used to go to the gym with different people all the time. A lot of talking, put it that way. You're messing around talking, you end up planning fucking nights out and drinking beer a lot more, because you're always seeing these lads. Testosterone's high, you're having a chat, you start organising events, you know what it's like, or checking out girls in the gym. So as soon as I started training alone as well, I did get the best results of my life, unless you are training with somebody who's proper serious, which I did last week. It was really, really good actually, when you got somebody who wants to gain at the same rate that you want to gain at. But we can see here for the first time, this is where I'd say, how old did I say he was? 19. So 3 years of training. This is the full, he's just done a proper solid year here as well. And yeah, I would say, okay, this is the first level of elite. This is where like people would look at you and go, God damn, you're in shape. Like this guy's in some serious shape. He's well above average. You know how I tell you guys the straight 7 system? This is probably where he's like, probably hit 7 here, like a high 7. Like this is, to be honest, if the average guy on the street had this body, they'd probably be, you know, finished. That would be it. They'd probably tick that final box and say, I'm done. It's mainly because he's so lean. But I'm just saying, like, out of 10, if 10 is the body he's got now, it's probably like a 7, okay? So he's really raised it to an elite level. Decent amount of muscle, not a huge amount, but decent amount. And then because he's down to, like, I would say 10% body fat, it just makes him look huge, makes him look shredded. Yeah, he's really brought it all together. You can see, I know he's leaning back, but bigger neck, etc. Traps have come in. It's a more masculine body now. Now, like I said, 19, don't expect this for most people. He's got unreal genetics. He's training for 3 years. Just took a proper year seriously. Average guy, you're going to be looking at being like 26, 27 before you can get in this kind of shape, okay? So, especially if you need 3 solid years of training, because most people they're just not switched on to be doing this when they're younger. It's not something we really think about, is it? He also said at this point he wasn't training legs either. And he said that it was kind of like he went into his 4th year of training after this. And he was saying that he was training in his garage and using school gyms. So nothing too special, guys. I believe I've got a picture of that. I'll bring that up now. Okay, so we can see here that he is actually a lot bigger, okay? Considering he's not training legs, he's got pretty big legs naturally. Looks very well proportioned, obviously incredibly lean. He's not actually that big here, guys. I know it looks like he's massive. He's not actually that big. He's just so lean that it makes everything pop and look twice as big. If he was carrying like 16% body fat, yeah, he looked like a pretty big guy because of the excess body fat, but his muscles themselves aren't exactly enormous, okay? But fantastic shape. I think anybody would be happy at being in this shape. But of purpose of the male advantage journey, he's just like some jacked young kids, which is something within itself, okay? Obviously, he's an attractive guy, but he's just some jacked young kids, and that's all he's at right now. That's the point he's at. He's training in his home gym. You know, and appearances can be deceiving. So on the outside, yeah, attractive guy. Sure, he's getting a lot of attention. He's clearly out in front of guys that are also like, I think he's about 20 years old here. You know, first signs of becoming a man. And he's obviously well above average of the average guy on the street. So, you know, he's well ahead of the game. This is why I really promote fitness first, not the gym, but I always promote like doing fitness first before anything, like really focusing on it when you have time and you're young. Maybe from like 20 to 25, just go nuts in the gym, just really attack it, structure routine, get to 25. After, like, you can work in a factory and hit the gym like a lunatic, and then you get to 25, you've got 100 grand saved up and you've got the perfect body, and then you make some investments, start a business, whatever you want to do, move on to a decent career, and then you can start putting stuff together. That's why I always promote it. I think it's a great way to do it, okay? So at this point, he said he was training abs 3 times a week, and I think he finally moved on after this to a proper gym. I think he had better facilities around him at university. Yeah, so he moved on to a proper gym. So this is probably when we see him put on a mass of muscle. Now in the summer, he said that he did bar work all summer in Spain. He had the perfect body and no money, as we said. You know, it's bar work in Spain is, I mean, you're looking at pounds wise, you're looking at something like £50 a night. If that, you might be looking at less, might be like £30-40 a night back then. Dollars like $50 to $60. It's low quality work, okay? You work mainly off commissions and stuff like that. They might not even pay you a wage. It might be how many customers can you get in, okay? You stamp that one down, you get £1 for each one you bring in. It's not nice work, okay? It's not fun, but at 20 years old, when you're jacked, full of testosterone, just want to fuck girls, then yeah, it makes sense to do it. And that's probably why he went out there. And he said he still wasn't training legs. He was relentlessly training his upper body. And this is what I mean, guys. It's just kind of when you're young, you don't really know what you're doing. You have like weird hair. You do like weird shit. He's like not worried about his legs, doesn't realize the importance of them at the moment. It's just like it takes time. Like as a woman, like we saw 16-year-old Kelly Brook already look like very close to the finished article. Mike Thurston's not even training legs yet. You know, it's like he's got no money in the bank. It's just nowhere near where he's going to be in the future. And it's just so tough, okay? As a man, there's just like 10 years of grind needs to happen before you can actually start living. Now in 2012, obviously when he got back to the UK, he started working at Hollister from 21 to 22 years old. And we got a picture here. And there's Mike. And we can just see how awkward he looks, okay? It's just like, obviously he's in shape. Looks like a pretty jacked guy. Maybe looks a little bit too old to be working there because he's bigger than the other kids there. But, you know, like going from bar work to working at Hollister, whatever. And this is why the male advantage is a complete process, is because he's jacked as fuck. You know, he obviously looks older than he is. He's got like the body box ticked. But then he's working in Spain doing bar work, and then he's working at Hollister. Like, he's not attractive at this point to any woman over the age of like 20, 21 years old. Because any woman over that age has probably got a serious job. She's looking for somebody who's got money, who's in a decent position, who's got career ambition. You know, all that shit that comes next as you move down the line as a man. But, you know, bar work in Spain, then Hollister, he's not exactly what women would refer to as husband material. You know, or father material, which is what a lot of them are obviously looking for, or like a high quality man at least. And again, Hollister, I mean, you're looking at like £8-9 an hour. It's not exactly great work. It's just kind of like a trendy brand back then. It was, you know, like 7-8 years ago, it was like popping off. As you can see, the clothes are a little bit weird. They're a little bit dated now. I don't think people would be wearing them now, but you know, back then, obviously, that was what Mike was doing. But as we'll see later on, like, you need to bring it all together to reach that male advantage. And having the body, fantastic. It only puts you like 20-30% of the way there, but you kind of have to tick that box first. Now, he only lasted a year. He got to about 23. He probably started thinking, do you know what? I can't be dealing with this anymore. This is really getting on my nerves. And he said that summer, he kind of... he was squeezing the gym around work, you know, and that's the problem when you got a 9-to-5 job, or I think the hours were worse than that. They were unsociable hours. It's very hard to fit training in. You're very lucky if you get time, and that's why doing it young is so important. He went to Cancun that summer, looking pretty jacked at this point on his like 5th or 6th year of training. I think it's 5th year of training. Of course, he's going to have incredible gains by this point. He's already unrecognizable. Really taking shape. He said there were no extra gains that year. He said he maintained. I think he's added a shit ton of muscle. I think he looks fantastic. But like I said, 2013, 23 years old, he quit his job and started a PT company, personal training company. It was a start of social media, Instagram, etc. And I think he had a massive size increase because he's got more knowledge. His diet improved, and he said he started training legs for the first time. And also, he's got the time to do it. If you've started a personal training company and you're in the gym all day, you're going to be training more. So what he did is he made time for his passion, the thing that was going to pay him back. And I think it's very smart, okay? A lot more people need to do that. A lot of people are like, oh, how do I get rich? Don't need to get rich. You just need to find enough money for you to find the time to actually focus what you want to focus on. You know, instead of trying to earn 100 grand per month, focus on trying to earn 2 grand per month so that you can have all day to do what you want to do and build your life up. You know, if that means then you can work on a business and be in the gym for 2 hours and you can cook all day, you know, and actually really focus on what you need to do, have that extra 2 hours of sleep to get jacked and then be refreshed to work on your business. You know, that's the perfect scenario, and that's kind of what Mike did, which is, it was a great move from him, especially at 23. You know, it's kind of the age 23 to like 25 when guys start thinking, oh, I need to do something in my life. What shall I do? What do I want to be? You know, you start soul searching. It's not Hollister and Lads Holidays just aren't the one at that point. Now, 6 years into his training, he started competing, 2014. Obviously, he had his own gym, and self-proclaimed, Mike said this is the best shape that he'd been in in his life at this point, one of the best of his life overall, he believes, and he was training 2 times per day as well. So I don't think he recommends that now, but like I said, he had more time, he was in the gym. I think this is nose to the grindstone when his physique really came together. Now at this point as well, because obviously social media, Instagram, whatever came out, I think he moved on to YouTube, and there's videos of him training. He's really awkward. He said himself, low on confidence. I think it's also the year where his legs matched up to his upper body, so he must, obviously getting ready for a competition. I think he said this in the video, you don't want to be stood up there with chicken legs. Gonna have to bring it all together and look like everything's proportional and it matches, okay? But like I said, awkward, low confidence, whatever. So we got this guy, good looking guy, in shape, really attractive bloke. 6-7 years of training at this point. I think 6 years of training at this point, which is going to make anybody look 10 times better and unrecognizable. But he's got no money and he's awkward. He's got his own gym now. He's probably making a bit more than he was, but it's still like not decent level of money, low on confidence, still a young lad. Just male advantage just hasn't kicked in yet. No matter how much work you put in, there's just a certain level you need to get to. Now he came 3rd in the competition. He said he just pissed off on holiday, let loose a little bit that summer. And then we move into 2015. He's 24 years old. And I think it's the first time where he really started to look like the Mike that we know today, that we're watching. I'll bring up some pictures here. You can see he's actually got some like man size going on there. And his face is obviously more mature. He's got some stubble. His face just looks leaner, less puffy, like less childlike. It's just all coming together, okay, guys? That's what happens when you just drop that body fat and just naturally get older as a man. We can see here, look at the size of his arms, absolutely jacked. Just looks like a full-grown man now. And don't read too much into the fact that he's 24 and you're 25. Oh, I don't look like that. What happened to me? Read more into the fact that this is like his 6th year of training, okay? What did I say? He was 24 now? Okay, so guys, this is like 8 years of training. Now, what would you look like after 8 years of training? I imagine you might look something, you might not look exactly like this, but you're going to look probably 3 times bigger than you were when you started. You're going to look more like a man. You're going to look more masculine. And that just comes with time, effort, and gym work, guys, okay? It just, it just is what it is, of course. I think at this point as well, I think this was like Mike's 4th bulk. So I always say to you guys, you get about 4 bulks out of this before you reach your kind of elite level. And even today, Mike looks obviously so much bigger in a sense, but it's like another, will that be like another 6 years on where he was there? So obviously he's going to look a lot bigger. But I think this was like his genetic peak. Yeah, granted he might have taken some substances, everybody speculates that he has, but at that point I think that's a possible genetic peak after 8 years of training and 4 bulks. A couple competitions, whatever, owning your own gym, training twice a day, all the knowledge that he has, etc. Yeah, of course, I think that is his genetic peak. That's like the highest he could possibly get to. And like I said, you start at 20. By 28, you're going to look similar. You're going to look around that mark. It's just inevitable that you're going to look something like that, okay? Now, he went into the competition again. His thinking was to get a lot bigger, as we can see. He said that the problem was all the guys that he was against got even bigger. So I imagine there's massive steroid abuse in that competition. He didn't place in this competition, so he said it really pissed him off. He started binging, went on 3 holidays, enjoyed life a lot more. So obviously he had a bit of spare money, but he's still got, I know it's tough when you're training that much, but he's still not got that man's mentality yet of like, okay, I failed, but I'm going to like kick on and do and like grind again. But instead he kind of like went away, 3 holidays. You just need these failures in life. You just need to go through the hardship of like, I put all that work in, it went nowhere. I failed. Great. What's next? I need to go and recover. Went on holiday, came back, and obviously relaxing a little bit more. Trying to figure life out. He's having some internal conversations, which is how you become the man that you will eventually be. It's fantastic to do. And when he came back, 97 kg after 8 years of training, that's elite physique at this point. That's how long it takes, guys. After being 16 and probably being like 64 kg or something like that. Now, he decided to focus on life, business, and training. That was just the 3. He was just like, okay, I'm just going to nail down, especially the business stuff. And this is kind of his grinding years, like I said. And we move into 2016. So he had some differences with a business partner. He moved the company online, and he moved to London. So this is, like I said, he was grinding for a little bit. He really stuck it out. He's got the elite level fitness. He had his big failure, had a little conversation with himself, and obviously thought, okay, I need to make some changes in life. That's your stick or twist moment. Every guy, every single male advantage story that I've told you guys on here, every single one of them has a stick or twist moment. And at the age of 25 into 26, I believe he's probably 26 by now, he took the risk. He took the massive risk. And the only thing he said he had was EHP Labs was doing a $1,000 supplement sponsor per month. So he had that money to kind of fall back on, but then had to move to London and build everything back up. And of course, London, you're going to charge more, you're going to get more money. It's just, it's going to push you as well. It's going to force you to be better because you're now out of your comfort zone. So that's something that he did. Website, online coaching, moved it online. Yeah, something that they weren't doing before. He evolved his business, really focused on it. I really commend that. And started monetizing his YouTube vids. So we see the first sign here after 10 years of kind of beginning his journey in the gym. He's got to 26 and he's got some decent money coming in. He's got 3 or 4 streams of income. So we're seeing the first signs now of everything coming together at 26 after 10 years of grinding, guys. This is what I always tell you lot. When people begin at 25, they're like, I want to be a millionaire by 30. Well, by 35, you might start seeing the results that you want, because Mike's just done 10 solid years and he's finally got multiple streams of income. He's living in London where he actually wanted to be, and he's in the shape of his life. And that took 10 years to get to. And he's not at an elite level yet in terms of money and business and whatnot, but he's got the wheels in motion. Like, that's what most guys do. They get absolutely jacked, which is necessary. They start getting more women, and then they realize, shit, I don't have a house to take her back to. Shit, my car keeps breaking down. Shit, my clothes are terrible. Oh, I don't have any money to like execute on any of the dreams that I want to achieve. Or she wants to get a mortgage, get married, all this stuff, which I don't recommend. But guys are like, damn, I don't have the money. And that actually brings me on to my next point in 2017, when he said he was completely focused on business and fitness. Like I said, the grinding years, it's necessary. The Mike that we see now, like living life, traveling around, like he couldn't do that then. He had to grind. And a lot of people have this idea of like, they see these YouTubers or TikTokers or Instagrammers like flying around the world, and they're like, oh, how can I achieve that? Some of them are just hot, but there's a lot of years of grinding now. For some of these hot girls, the grinding could have been 12 trips to Dubai with some fat, hairy guy who's offering them 100 grand for sex. Still grinding. It's still the years that nobody has to see that you have to put the work in, okay? So at some point, everybody has to do theirs. And as I said, we're going to kind of link the previous thing about, you're in shape, you get women, but then you realize you don't have the money now. And he had a beautiful Swedish girlfriend. I believe it was this Aisha Potter girl, because they follow each other on Instagram, and she's Swedish. And at the time, she would have been like 18, and he was like 26, as I said, guys. And of course, like you can see here, stunning woman, great body. She was 18 years old. It's probably like 19, 20, 21 here, but he was 26. He could have easily been like, okay, I've got one for the future. I've got money coming in now. Let's get married. Let's settle down. But what ended up happening is he ended the relationship, or it broke apart, because he's just too busy. And this is what happens, right? Guys get jacked. They get in better shape. They start looking better. You get to that age, 27, like I said, guys, where it's the most dangerous age for men, where you can finally attract good-looking women, and you get one. And it's up to you what you do, because you start, you're enjoying it. The sex is great. People are looking at you like, oh, he's the man. He's got the beautiful woman on his arm. But you have to remember, where does it go from here? If you want marriage, if you want a mortgage, if you want kids, etc., if you want to do all these things, travel the world with this woman, women are expensive. Even if they don't mean to be, they're expensive. They love doing shit. Like, no woman wants to just sit inside and watch Netflix all day with you. She wants to travel, go on holidays, have kids, get married, etc. Go on trips and buy shit. Like, get a new house and put furniture in there. And every guy kind of gets to a point where they realize, I just need to go back to the drawing board and just focus on my business. And that's what Mike did. You can be the best looking guy in the world attracting women, but your brain will go, hang on, where's this going? Hang on a minute, I don't have any money. Yeah, I'm attractive. Yeah, I'm getting sex off these beautiful women, But at the same time, where's my life headed? Like, in order to get up to the next bracket, I'm going to have to step back, go back to the drawing board, sacrifice women for a bit, and catapult this to the top. And that's pretty much what Mike did. So, gave up the beautiful woman, tripled down on YouTube videos and clients, moved to a place in Earl's Court in central London, a new apartment, which I'll show you guys now. Spent around about 1 year in that apartment. So that means there's 2 years where he was just locked in from like 26 to 28, or to be honest 25, so like 3 years. So for like 3 years, 25 to 28, he, after his failure from the second competition where he thought he had a chance of winning it, 3 years just locked in, just grinding. Okay, yeah, he had the beautiful misses, whatever, but came to the conclusion it wasn't really worth it. And every guy just needs these like kind of 3 to 5 years where you just put your head down, you grind, you double down, you triple down on what you were doing, you just fight through it, you just say it is what it is, you know, regardless of the conditions. And obviously he was living a better life at that point, earning more money. Earl's Court isn't cheap, but you know, we can see the first early signs of he's got his own apartment, he's in fantastic shape, he started really knuckling down on his business, he's putting some money in the bank. 28 years old, you know, this is the first sign of the male advantage coming together, and the table's turning where a 28-year-old woman now wouldn't get near him for value, you know, or if she is, let's say she's a beautiful 28-year-old, the tables are starting to turn, he's starting to get on top, okay? Now in 2019, things got really interesting for Mike. Must have been a solid year of earning good money. I think he's probably earning like 10 to 15 grand per month at this point. He creates the Thirst brand and moves to Dubai. So this is when everything really starts to get exciting for him, really starts to live life a little bit more. A move to Dubai after the move to London, you know, he's spreading his wings again. The Thurston brand, so you can see he's really got his head switched on now. Instead of it just being personal training, he's stepping up to actual products that he can put out there. A little bit tougher to do. He's growing as a man, as an entrepreneur. You know, things are coming together, and it's little things like that as well, those skills, that maturity, the mindset, whatever, like that makes you into the man and brings the male advantage together. Because the stuff he's doing now, or at least doing 2019 with the Thirst brand, which are swim shorts, which I'll bring up on screen now, you cannot really do that at like 18, 19, 20, 21. You just don't have the mindset to do it. You know, great if you can, but most guys, their head's just not in that space. Now in 2020, as I always promote to you guys, once you got the money, once everything's secure, then you could start, you know, working on yourself a bit more. The clothes, the car, the house, the hair transplant, as Mike decided to have. You know, if you've got 20 grand in the bank and you use 15 of it to go and get a hair transplant, and you've got 5 grand left and that means you're struggling, then you're a moron. You know, stay bold, stay thinning, shave it off, buzz it down, whatever it needs to be. Save that money, reinvest that money, you know, wait until you've got like 400 grand in the bank, then go and get that hair transplant for like 15k, and then bring it all together. Just be a little bit more patient, because men have time. And this is why I make these videos, because so many guys, like for example me, I'm bold, I will be getting a I'll be getting SMP in September, maybe a hair transplant in the future, but it hasn't bothered me. I've rocked the bold look for like 4-5 years, not really giving a fuck. I quite like it in a way, but in the same sense, I prefer hair. So, you know, and I've waited this long, and I've injected all my money back into the business, and now it's kind of paid off. It's, you know, I've got the spare money to do it. So I'm entertaining those ideas. Luckily, I've been offered it for free, but I was entertaining those ideas once the money came in, and that's what Mike did as well. So he had the hair transplant, and you know, at this point, he starts bringing everything together. Like I said, he's in 2021. He had the car, got the clothes, the baller apartment in Dubai. You know, just everything starts coming together. And at this point, he's 30 years old. Okay, so the first year of the male advantage. And he sat there with the car, the money, the body, the fresh batch of hair on his head, you know, so obviously he's got the look, the masculine face, stuff like skin's really come in, you know, it's just more complete. Like I said, sat in the baller apartment, and that's taken from like 16 to 30, that's 14 years of work, guys, to get to 30 years old and like start kicking on with the male advantage. He's going to be turning like 31 this summer, I believe. So 14, 15 years to get to the point where he is now, of hard work, navigating, trying to figure it out. And obviously, as you can see, it's exponential. So at the start, from like 16 to 25, 26, not a lot really happens. And then he kind of starts his own business. Then he's moving on to London. Then he's moving on to Dubai. Then he's getting all these things coming in. Then he's making like 30. I believe I looked online. He's making 396,000 per year, which is about 33,000 per month. That's what is reported on a website that I saw. I think it's Muscle and Wealth. That's what the website's called, which I think is probably pretty accurate. I wouldn't be surprised if he's closer to like 40, 50k now with the stuff he's doing. But 33,000 per month, roughly 400k per year. Perfect body, lovely apartment, nice car. You know, his own businesses, his own brands, his own products going out there. Yeah, well, look, it takes that long, 14, 15 years to put all that in place, guys. But like I said, it starts slow and then it speeds up. It just takes time, okay? And that's why you tick the fitness box first. You really focus on the wealth, you know, and then it's easy to manage both. And he's 30 years old. He's got everything he would ever want. Now it's his time to shine. It's the male advantage years, okay? So if he wants now, he could probably just do like 6, 7, 8 years of just traveling the world, sleeping with women, enjoying himself, spending money, taking weekends off. You know, that's possible at this point. You can enjoy the kind of time that women get to enjoy in their teens and 20s. This is your time to do it now. You know, and then when you're getting closer to 40, yeah, you find a woman, settle down. Not going to be hard to do if you've got that full setup. And that's the position that Mike's put himself in, from working so hard from 16 years old, just based off passion, to be honest. Like, fitness was his passion, and he's managed to turn it into a career, built a whole business around it, and then products as like offshoots of that business. And I think, you know, good luck to him, man. He's built such a great business. I don't know where it goes from here, how much bigger it gets. I wish him all the best. You know, he always says he enjoys leisure time and whatnot. So I imagine he's going to relax a lot more now. Has that kind of money coming in. I don't know what the next kind of stage would be. I'd love to get him on the streaming platform for some fitness kind of documentaries, projects, you know, kind of fitness films. I know that sounds weird, but I've got some great ideas for that we could bring together. You know, but I'm not sure if he's looking to do anything like that, but who knows? That could be pretty cool. But what a journey, hey guys, like 14, 15 years to get to the top. All those years of struggle, you know, finally blending fitness, money and assets together. And then paying for things like hair transplants, clothes, etc. Like I said, just bringing the holistic image of a man together. And then we look at the comparison at the end. Like, look where he started, look where he is now. You know, it's just worlds apart, okay? It's just a little boy becoming a man. And that's what the male advantage is all about. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio.